Is it hard to access affordable, healthy food? Then listen carefully. Daryl Addison, an African-American inventor, has patented a process for growing food on demand. He called it Torpedo Pot. Torpedo Pot is a fully automated flower pot that gives you control over your plant's environment. All you do is add soil, seeds, and plants to the flower pot and watch it grow. Yes, Torpedo Pot grows the rest. Visit www.torpedopot.com.
Hello fam, welcome back to the African Diaspora News channel. I am Wongel Zelalem bringing you this report. Today's report is about an open letter Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed wrote for President Biden of America, and I want to read a little bit of what he wrote and we will come back and discuss. He wrote, Mr. President, the American people that have supported the US government's global interventions under the pretext of democratization would be hard-pressed to know that a small, impoverished but culturally, historically, and naturally rich nation in East Africa embarked on its own democratization path 3 years ago. However, the American people and the rest of the Western world are being misguided by the reports, narratives, and data distortions of global entities many believe were driven to help impoverished countries like mine, yet have in the past months portrayed victims as oppressors and oppressors as victims through partisan narratives and bankrolled networks. History always smiles upon those who have stood for truth. And so I am certain that the truth will shine upon this proud nation, Ethiopia. Many Ethiopians and Africans looked with optimism at your ascent to the presidency earlier this year. This optimism has been rooted in the belief that a new dispensation for Africa-US relations will materialize in 2021 and that your presidency would usher in respect for the sovereignty of African nations and nurture partnership based on mutual growth and in-depth reading of context. African nations that have broken free from the shackles of colonialism starting from the 1950s have continued to resist the chains of neo-colonialism that is manifesting itself in various overt and covert ways. Despite escaping the yokes of colonialism, Ethiopia now struggles with its mutation. As a founding member of the United Nations and the Organization for African Unity, now African Union, Ethiopia remains a proud nation that through its sons, daughters, and kinship with other African nations is determined to meet our current challenges with the resilient and indomitable spirit that defines this great nation. Developing nations like Ethiopia have been expectant that a new course in the US foreign policy will be charted, departing from the influence of individuals that have entrenched themselves into the politics of other nations. A foreign policy that can extricate itself from decisions made based on key policy makers and policy influencers, friendships with belligerent terrorist groups like the TPLF, and the narrative distortions of lobby groups. We have seen the consequence and aftermath of hurried and rash decisions made by various US administrations and that have left many global populations in more desolate conditions than the intervention attempted to rectify. It is essential to point out here that Ethiopia will not succumb to consequences of pressure engineered by disgruntled individuals for whom consolidating power is more important than the well-being of millions. Our identity as Ethiopians and our identity as Africans will not let this come to pass. The humiliation our ancestors have faced throughout the continent for centuries will not be resuscitated in these lands upon which the green, gold, and red colors of independence have inspired many to successfully struggle for the freedom. God bless Ethiopia and its people. So, basically, whether we agree with Prime Minister Abiy or not, whether you're against him or not, what he's saying is true when it comes to the US and their influence with other nations, specifically African nations. It's like colonization ended and now it's a modern way of keeping us in bondage. It's like they're still superior. It's like we don't have a say in our own policies, in our own parliament, in our own decisions. So it's just unfair. all around. And the sad thing, and even Prime Minister Abiy mentioned it, is African countries, a lot of them were really excited when Biden became president. I even remember in Ethiopia, they were so excited because Trump left power. And I remember telling them, even my own people, I'm like, you do know, it's just, even if Trump is taken out and then Biden is in, it's going to be the same for African countries. They're only going to care about America and their agenda. It's not about you. Like, you do understand. And a lot of people were offended. They thought Biden is like this savior that's coming. And I remember I talked about this on African Diaspora as well. Then once Trump left power, they were actually hooting when they announced that it's Joe Biden that is going to be the next president. There was hooting, people were shouting and screaming on the streets of Ethiopia, excited. But the one thing I told them was, he might be a different leader, it's still the leader of the US, not your leader. So you really have to be sure that they're going to be on your side. They just flow wherever it goes, and tomorrow Biden might say, I'm with Egypt. So that didn't move me. So for me, it was not a surprise that Biden was even worse, right? But other people, Africans, were shocked, which I don't understand why, but they were shocked. So it's a good realization that no matter who is in power, they're not going to change anything. They might promise you this is part of politics, but nothing will happen, because at the end of the day, they're going to serve their own masters, their funders, their own behind the scenes people that run the show. So with that being said, did Biden do anything for the Black community in America? Well, Philip can tell you that. So I don't get why African countries really believed in President Biden, but I'm glad he showed them who he is. And this is a testament to how African leaders now should start thinking and noticing how the Western world sees us and how they act. So the answer is, put yourself first, put your people first, and try and see what will be the best thing to do for your own people. Not necessarily rely on these Western leaders, because at the end of the day, they're not here to help you out. They're here to use whatever resources you can offer. If it's land, if it's natural resource, if it's your youth, they're gonna do that. So I hope more leaders wake up and more leaders focus on their own people and growing the economy instead of believing in this nations outside of their country. For me, the focus should be African Union. The African unity, I believe, can bring us much more than a single African country dealing with China, dealing with America. I think we'll have more power if we come together and African Union can actually act like their priority is Africans. So let us know down below what your thoughts are about the open letter Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed wrote to President Biden. We'll see you next time. I'm Wongel Zelalem bringing you this report. Bye. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and download the African Diaspora News Channel app, now available on Google Play and the Apple App Store.
Starting your Locker natural hair journey is oh so rewarding, but can be extremely stressful when you start to consider what products to use. If that's you, then look no further. Locklicious is a Black-owned company that has created an all-natural product line for locked and loose natural crowns. The Locklicious team works hard to ensure that their products are free of parabens, phthalates, sulfates, PEG, synthetics, and other toxic chemicals you find in other products. Best of all, the products are lightweight and will not leave residue or cause buildup. Go to locklicious.com to start treating your crown like royalty.